We promised to marry at 35 if still single. She came to my birthday holding our old note. The first thing I noticed was that the paper had gotten smaller. Not literally. It was still the same torn half sheet from a yellow legal pad, folded twice, stained by a dark coffee ring, and signed by two kids who thought 35 sounded ancient. But in Rachel Bennett's hand, under the porch light at my 35th birthday party, it looked harmless. She stood at the bottom of my steps while everyone inside sang too loudly over a cake I had not wanted. Rain darkened the shoulders of her denim jacket. Her hair was shorter than I remembered, cut just above her collar, and she was breathing like she had hurried the last block. "Happy birthday, Daniel," she said. I had not seen her in 12 years. Behind me, my sister shouted through the screen door that they were lighting the candles whether I was there or not. Rachel held up the note. "You kept it," I said. She gave a small, unsettled laugh. Apparently, we both did. I reached into my wallet and pulled out my copy, its creases worn white. Same words, same crooked handwriting. If Rachel Bennett and Daniel Mercer are both still single when Daniel turns 35, they will get married. No backing out for stupid reasons. Below that, in Rachel's handwriting, stupid reasons include fear. Below that in mine, and bad haircuts. We had signed it at 17 in the back booth of Cal's Diner with a red plastic kitchen timer ticking between us. Rachel had stolen it from the counter because she said every serious promise needed a deadline. Cal caught us and made us wipe tables for an hour. Back then, marriage meant sharing fries and never sitting alone at a school dance. At 35, it carried the weight of everything that had not worked out since. Rachel looked past me toward the voices inside. "Are you going to invite me in?" I stepped aside too quickly. "Yeah, of course." Saw the as she passed. I caught the same faint scent I remembered from high school, orange hand cream. She used to keep a tube in her backpack because winter split the skin across her knuckles. That detail hit harder than a note. Abby saw her first. Oh my God. The room went quiet in stages. My mother covered her mouth. Cal Turner, now 72 and still running the diner, pointed at Rachel with a paper plate like she had failed to return a library book. Rachel smiled, but I knew that smile. It was the one she used when she wanted everyone else comfortable before deciding whether she was. Abby crossed the room and hugged her. "You came back. For the cake," Rachel said. Cal looked at the paper in her hand. "That the full contract." Rachel glanced at me. I should have let her breathe. Instead, I said, "Looks like the deadline held." People laughed. Rachel did too, a second late. I should have paid attention to that extra second. Instead, I took her arrival as proof that life had finally followed the schedule. That was how my mind worked. I spent my days fitting human mess into clean boxes for 3 civil courtrooms in Franklin County. Calendars did not change their minds. People did. Rachel always had. Inside my kitchen, Abby cut Rachel a slice from the corner because she remembered Rachel hating frosting roses. My mother touched Rachel's cheek and asked no questions for once. Cal started telling the story of the stolen timer, improving it with each sentence. I watched Rachel fit into the room as if 12 years were a coat she could hang by the door. Then she looked at me, not around me, not toward the old photographs on the mantel. At me. "Do you still take your coffee with too much milk?" she asked. "Only when nobody's watching." "I'm watching." Then black. She smiled for real. There it was. The old shift in the air. The feeling that she had found the one loose thread in me and pulled just enough to let me breathe. That was dangerous enough. What made it worse was how badly I wanted her to keep pulling. After the party, people left in clusters. My mother hugged Rachel twice. Abby whispered something to her that made Rachel look at me and shake her head. Cal made us promise to come to the diner the next morning. By 11:30, the house was quiet. Rachel stood at my kitchen sink rinsing 2 cake plates. "You don't have to do that," I said. "I know. You're a guest. I was a guest 3 hours ago. Now I'm a woman washing frosting off your plates. That's a promotion." "Unclear." She set the plate in the rack. On my refrigerator was a monthly calendar color-coded. Blue for work, green for family, black for appointments. I saw her reading it. You schedule haircuts 6 weeks out, she asked. My barber fills up. Daniel, your barber is asleep by 7 o'clock. He has demand. She laughed, then touched a square near the end of the month. Dinner. Rachel. I had written it that afternoon after Abby told me Rachel might be coming. Rachel's snorts finger stayed on the question mark. You put me on the calendar before I got here. I was being optimistic. No, you were being you. The words were gentle. That made them land. I leaned against the counter. Why did you come? She dried her hands slowly. For your birthday. With a note? Yes, to collect. Her face changed just a little. Is that what you think? I don't know what to think. You show up 12 years later, holding a promise to marry me. I thought we could talk about it. We were talking. No, you're trying to get to the answer. I looked at the note on the table. Isn't there supposed to be an answer eventually? I hated eventually. Eventually was where people kept things they did not want to choose. Rachel picked up her jacket. Where are you staying? Cal's apartment over the diner. He rents it now. For how long? A few weeks. The lease on the old fabric shop opened up, and I came back to see if I wanted it. Before she had finished speaking, my mind was already filling those few weeks. Dinner tomorrow, Saturday with my mother, then time to ask about work, the years apart, and what she wanted. Rachel saw it happen. You're making boxes. I'm standing here. You get that little line between your eyebrows. I have a line. You always had it. At 17, it showed up whenever the jukebox ate your quarter. She stepped closer and touched the space between my eyebrows with one finger. I stopped breathing. Her hand lowered, but she did not step back right away. Good night, Daniel. Rachel. She turned at the door. Was it fear? I asked. What? 12 years? Was that the stupid reason? She looked down at the note, then folded it along the old crease. Some of it. Then she left. The next morning, I arrived at Cal's 20 minutes early. That is my version of pretending not to care. Rachel was already in the back booth. That was hers. Between us sat the red kitchen timer. Cal had found it in a drawer after the party. The numbers were worn almost white, but when Rachel twisted the dial, it began ticking with the same loud, stubborn confidence it had when we were teenagers. 10 minutes, she said. For what? Questions. You get 5, I get 5. No follow-ups designed to corner the witness. I don't corner witnesses. You alphabetize your spices. That is unrelated. She turned the timer to 10. Yep. I asked where she had been. Portland first, then Denver, then 3 years in Minneapolis. She designed window displays for department stores until the last chain closed half its locations. After that, she worked freelance staging small shops and restaurants, making ordinary places feel like somebody had thought about how people entered them. That sounds like you, I said. What does? Caring about the entrance. Her eyes lifted. Most people remembered Rachel as the girl who left. I remembered how she used to sit on the floor near the front door at parties because she wanted to be the first person a nervous guest saw. She looked away and asked my second question for me. No, I was never married. Engaged once for 4 months. What happened? The timer ticked between us. He had a plan, she said. I waited. He had a plan for the house, the city, holidays, when we would have children. He loved me. I think he did. But every time I said maybe, he heard yes with a date attached. I sat back. That sounds familiar. It should. Cal arrived with coffee and looked between us. You two already fighting? No, Rachel said. Yes, I said. Cal nudda. Good means you skipped the polite part. When he left, Rachel asked about me. I told her about 2 serious relationships. One ended because we wanted different things. The other ended because we wanted the same things at different speeds. That is a very scheduled person answer, she said. It is also true. Were you in love? I stirred my coffee, though I had not added anything. I was trying to be good at it. Rachel went quiet. I had spent years believing that if I remembered birthdays, showed up on time, loaded the dishwasher correctly, and never raised my voice, love would have no reason to leave. I had treated being dependable like a shield. The embarrassing part was that it made me look ready for love. Mostly, it made me good at hiding inside the role. Rachel reached across the table and stopped my spoon with 2 fingers. You're gonna break the cup. I let go. What about you? I asked. Were you in love with him? She looked toward the window. I was very good at leaving before I had to find out. The timer rang. Neither of us moved. For the next 2 weeks, we became 17 and 3-5 at the same time. We had breakfast at Cal's 3 mornings in a row. Rachel came with me to my mother's house and repaired a paper star she had made for our Christmas tree in 11th grade. I went upstairs to her rented apartment and found 3 unpacked boxes lined against the wall. You've been here 9 days, I said. I know. You haven't unpacked your books. I know. Are you leaving? She looked at the boxes. Not today. I wanted to ask about tomorrow. Instead, I picked up a chipped blue bowl she had wrapped in newspaper. I remember this. You broke the matching one. You threw it at me. I threw it near you. We continued to disagree. She smiled and took the bowl from my hands and set it on the shelf. It was only one object, but seeing it unpacked made me absurdly happy, and Rachel noticed. Don't make it mean too much, she said. I didn't say anything. Your face has subtitles. At night, she began calling me when she could not sleep. We did not discuss the promise. We talked about smaller things. Cal's new hearing aids, the neighbor's dog that barked at delivery trucks, the court clerk who reheated fish in the break room. Once at 1 o'clock in the morning, Rachel said, Do you ever get tired of being the one who remembers everything? I knew what she meant. At family dinners, I brought my mother's pills without being asked. At work, I knew which judge needed 5 quiet minutes before a difficult docket. In relationships, I noticed empty gas tanks and low coffee and the exact day someone's patience changed. But I rarely told anyone what I needed because needing was unscheduled. It could arrive at a bad time. Sometimes I said, Will you do? Remember harder. She made a sound that was almost a laugh. That's terrible. It works. No, it functions. Silence filled the phone. Then she said, Stay on until I fall asleep. I lay in the dark listening to her breathing soften. I stayed on the line until she fell asleep. A few days later, I found her in the diner after closing helping Cal rearrange the front window. She had placed his old pie tins at different heights and tucked handwritten menu cards between them. The place looked warmer without looking new. Cal stood with his arms folded. She says people should see the pie before they see the prices. She's right, I said. Rachel was on a step stool. He has resisted every idea except the free one. Also sounds like him. She looked down at me. Hold this. She handed me a string of small amber lights. I held them while she draped them across the window. When she stepped down, she was closer than either of us expected. Her hand landed on my shoulder. Mina sitter the at least. Nobody spoke. Rachel's eyes dropped to my mouth, then back up. The way she looked at me had nothing to do with nostalgia. I leaned in. She kissed me first. It was not dramatic. No plate crashed. No music rose from somewhere. Her fingers tightened once at the back of my shirt, and the whole room I had known since childhood became unfamiliar in the best way. When we separated, she kept her forehead against mine. Don't put this on the calendar, she whispered. I wasn't going to. You were. I was thinking Sunday. She laughed against my mouth and kissed me again. One Friday, she brought over groceries and cooked tomato soup the way my father used to, with too much pepper and crackers crushed on top. How did you remember this? You complained about it every winter for 6 years. I loved it. I know. There are people who remember your preferences, and there are people who remember the lies you told about your preferences because you were 17 and afraid your friends would call you soft. Rachel remembered both. That night, sitting on my kitchen floor because the soup pot had boiled over and we were laughing too hard to clean it, I saw a future so ordinary it frightened me. Her bare feet under my table. Her books finally out of boxes. A second mug drying beside mine. I did not picture a wedding or a photograph. I pictured Tuesday. Her bare feet under my table. Her books out of boxes. And a second mug drying beside mine. I wanted Tuesday with her. The trouble began because I did not know how to want Tuesday without trying to secure every Tuesday after it. My mother planned a second birthday dinner for the following Sunday. The first one was chaos, she said. This one is family. Family included Abby, Cal, 2 cousins, and Rachel because my mother had already begun saying her name as if she had never stopped. Before dinner, I went upstairs and took the old note from my wallet. I had bought no ring, and I told myself that proved I was not rushing. In reality, I had made something worse. I had drawn up a new version of the promise. Not legal, not formal, just 1 page. Rachel and Daniel will spend 1 year building a life in Franklin. At the end of that year, if both still wish to marry, they will marry on October 12th, the date of the original note. I had listed practical things beneath it. Separate bank accounts, no assumptions about children, 1 night a week alone, travel twice a year, review after 6 months. I had tried to show her I had listened by removing every possible trap. Instead, I had built a cleaner cage. At dinner, Cole brought out the red timer. Abby raised a glass. My mother cried before anybody said anything. Rachel sat beside me with her knee touching mine under the table. I should have spoken to her privately and asked one plain question. Instead, I stood. I know everybody has been wondering about the note. Rachel's knee went still. I smiled at her seeking permission after I had already started. We made a deal 18 years ago. We were kids, but maybe we knew something. Abby's face changed first. She knew me. Daniel, she said quietly. I kept going. Rachel came back. We're both 35 and single, and I don't think promises should be ignored just because time passed. I took out the new page. Rachel stared at it. This isn't a proposal, I said quickly. It's a plan, a way to see if a plan, she repeated. The voices around us seemed to fall away. I handed her the page. She read the first line, then the second. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I mistook silence for overwhelm. I put in the things you said mattered. Space, choice, no fixed assumptions. You set a review date, so we don't drift. You scheduled whether we love each other. No, I scheduled a conversation. In front of your family. I wanted them to know I'm serious. Rachel set the paper down. Cal reached for the timer and stopped it. The sudden quiet was enormous. Rachel looked at me. Do you want to marry me? Yes. Me now? I blinked. Of course. What did I do yesterday? What? What did I do yesterday, Daniel? I searched. Saturday. She had spent the morning. She waited. I had no answer because I had spent yesterday drafting the plan. Rachel nodded once. I told you I was offered the lease on the old fabric shop. The memory came back. She had mentioned meeting the owner. I had said, that sounded promising while checking courthouse email. You want to open a studio? I don't know yet. I wanted to talk to you. We can put that in. Her expression collapsed, not in anger, but in hurt. Put in where? I looked at the page. She was still beside me, and I knew I had already lost her. She took her copy of the old note from her jacket pocket and laid it on the table. I didn't come here to make you keep this. Then why did you come? Her eyes filled, but her voice stayed low. I came because I wanted to know whether, after all these years, you would choose me without needing a promise to make it safe. I am choosing you. No, you're honoring paperwork. That's not fair. I know. She swallowed, but neither is this. She stood. My mother said her name, but Rachel shook her head. No, please don't make me comfort everybody. That was Rachel. Even hurt. She knew exactly which job the room would hand her. She picked up neither note. At the doorway, I followed. Rachel, wait. She turned on the porch. Rain had started again, light enough to shine in the street lamp. I love you, I said. Her face broke for half a second. I thought the words would save us, but they did not. You love me like choosing me is supposed to make everything certain, she said. I need you to stay even when it isn't. Then she walked down the steps. I did not follow because she had asked for space. That is what I told myself. The truth was I did not follow because I had no plan for what happened next. For 4 days, Rachel did not call. The empty places were humiliatingly